Ahoy from Prague, I'm Paul Colto, that's Yojin, and today I want to tell you about 10 things to expect from your first 6 months in a new country. I've lived in Prague for 5 years and I remember my first 6 months here vividly, and it was a roller coaster of intense highs and some pretty crushing lows. And today I'm going to tell you the sort of things you can expect from your first 6 months in a new country. I moved to Prague in the Czech Republic 5 years ago, and I remember those 6 months pretty clearly. And the biggest thing I remember is that there are lots of ups and downs in that first 6 months. You'll have some days where you think, what the hell am I doing here? And you'll have other times when you think, my God, this is the greatest experience in my life. So you need to be prepared for that roller coaster of emotions. The second thing to prepare for is that it is an assault on your senses. You're in a completely new environment, different to the one you grow up in. Different sounds, for example, the language, different smells, or the different food, different sights. You're going to see architecture and life in a way you've never seen it before. And yes, it's just a real assault on the senses. You will have some crazy dreams in your first 6 months, I guarantee. But they are what they are. The third thing to be prepared for is that you will party hard in those first 6 months. You meet a lot of new people, you're in a completely new place, there's so much to take in and absorb, and you need to let that out at times. So you're going to go out a lot and have a lot of fun, and it's brilliant, and some of those nights are some of the most memorable that you will have. Next up, I want to tell you that hopefully you will meet a lot of new people when you move to a new country. I covered this a little bit in my video on how to make friends in a new country, which you can watch by clicking the link above. And basically, not all of these new people will become friends, but when you meet the ones that will be, you will know. The fifth thing to be prepared for is paperwork, especially if you're moving from one continent to another. There's going to be repeat trips to office buildings to get stamps and paperwork, and you just have to accept that and try and treat it with a sense of humor and be patient. And like I said in my video on how to settle quickly in a new country, get a file and put every single piece of paper you get in that file, because often you're going to need it at different meetings. So if you've got it all in one place, that's really going to help. My sixth tip is to be prepared for unplanned expenses. Obviously, you should save as much money as you possibly can before you go on a big move like this, and you will have some idea of the sort of costs that are going to be involved, but there's always extra ones that you just can't plan for. For example, I had to unlock my phone after a few months, and that was just like a kick in the teeth. The seventh tip is a great one. It's about beautiful, unexpected things. Like when you move to a new country, you have a vision in your head of what it's going to be like, and you sort of hopefully have a rough idea of the job you're going to do, and you've done a bit of research about what the country's like. But you'll find when you move to a new country that often you discover a determination and strength within yourself that you didn't realize you had, because it is such a big thing, and there are obstacles like all that paperwork that require a lot of effort and perseverance. My eighth tip is about learning some home truths. And what I mean by that is when you move away from the country that you've spent most of your life in, you naturally get a real sense of perspective and some real distance from your life back home. And a lot of people who move to a new country sometimes have some difficult things that they moved away from. And a nice thing about moving to a new country is you get in that 6 months, the first concentrated period away from that space, to really look at those things in a much clearer light. My penultimate tip is about the long term. In those first 6 months, especially towards the end, you're going to start to get an idea of whether that is a place that you are going to want to stay for a longer period of time. And if it is, for example, if it's in a different country where they speak a different language, then you're going to want to start thinking about lessons in the language. And my 10th and final and perhaps best and most important thing to make you aware of what you will learn when you move to a new country in those first 6 months is that you will learn so much and acquire so much knowledge, not only about yourself, but about other people, another culture, and your place in the world in general. Every day you learn just so much from every time you go to a meeting, from finding accommodation, from learning about the culture in that city, from going to restaurants, cafes, bars, just from learning about the pace of life, from adjusting to the public transport. Every day there's so much that you will learn, and it's really fulfilling and enriching. And even if you stop and leave that country after 6 months, you take with you memories and lessons and just a whole new perspective on life. So those are my and his 10 tips on what to expect from the first 6 months in a new country. I hope you found this video useful. If you live in another country and you've been there for some time and you have some other tips and advice or memories from those first 6 months, please add them in the comments. If you like this video, please click like. If you think you know someone who might find it useful, please share it on social media, and don't forget to please subscribe to my channel. I put new videos online every week regarding things like this, international relocation advice. Also, I make videos about ESL or EFL teaching advice because I've been an English teacher in Prague for 5 years. So thanks very much for watching, and I will see you next time. Toot toot!